Welcome to Morning Coach Today. I am so glad you're with us. Hey, it's JB. Excited you're here. It is September 27, 2021. Super pumped. Episode number 4,371. We keep rocking and rolling every week. And this week we got a good one. We're going to get into holistic health, talking about body, mind, and spirit. I think it's a good way to end the month on health. We've had a great month where we're really structuring, and if you've seen it probably the last week, especially if you're on Facebook, all of our content around our topics, right? And so health has been really the overarching topic of September, and really we're focused on that topical idea. And we're going to finish this week. We're coming in October. Can you believe that we're already coming in October? It's pretty crazy. But as we get into that at the end of the week, we're going to be moving into metaphysics and spirituality. And so it's kind of cool to end the week kind of discussing those topics because they're very similar with the holistic aspect of life. So it's kind of cool that we're finishing this week really getting into the body, mind, spirit idea. And, October, I love it. We've got our 2-day IC event, and then the Get It Done Now Live, our first one at the end of October. I think it's the 28th, 29th, that Thursday, Friday. But I just love it because I get 4 days together with the Inner Circle and then with people coming in for Get It Done Now. And I get to be around just awesome people. And I'm excited always when I come into October. And February also, because typically February we do a 3-day meeting for IC and we get together a lot. And even this year we may do a little bit of something different where we may do a 2-and-2 split. We're doing some cool stuff to kind of get more people together since we're kind of moving through the COVID thing pretty quick here. And it's exciting. I mean, it's just exciting time to be alive as we start getting people together. And that goes along with body, mind, and spirit. I mean, the idea of the holistic health is being able to have a community, have people around you, have people supporting you. When you have that, you really have a better life. I mean, I did a video yesterday. If you get a chance to watch it, I put it up on YouTube. The last 2 weeks, it was funny. I said, if you saw the email, I said that I killed 2 birds with 1 stone. And you've heard me say this on here before, that I laugh about that. I know that's an old hunting analogy when somebody's out hunting and they want to get 2 birds. But for me, I'm like, I don't want to kill 2 birds. But I did kill 2 birds with 1 stone because I did a YouTube video at the same time and sent an email out. I thought it was just a fun way to kind of let the YouTube community also in on some of the things we're doing. And we talked about the holistic idea from 2 standpoints. One, we'll talk about today, which is the life wheel, and 2, by the 7 Ps. And the life wheel is such a wonderful tool when we start talking about holistic life, because we've got these different areas of life, from relationships to financials to freedom to fear to self-esteem. And understanding those areas, as I talked about in the video, is what we're talking about holistic health. The coaching that we do here is a more holistic coaching. Most people, and the coaching that I've been involved with over my career when I've hired coaches, have been about a particular topic. Like, I've had business coaches, I've had life coaches, I've had golf coaches, right? They're just on a very specific topic. They're very niche oriented. And the thing is, we're more holistic. Like, we cover all areas because we do this every day, 365 days of the year, plus events, plus the journal, plus all the things we're doing. So we cover a very broad amount of topics. If you go on the Compass, you're going to be able to see all the topics and everything that we're organizing. And really, we're structuring that out really solid. Even with the group coaching now, everything is getting organized and centralized, which is great. And we're really getting a good structure to this. And again, a lot of this is momentum into 2022. It's just going to make the year amazing. You're in the right place in the right time. I mean, this couldn't be a better time to be hearing this show as we come into October, November, and December, because it's just going to get you prepared as we get through Thanksgiving. Really hitting that December planning stage is going to be magical. And it all really starts now, to be honest with you. And so this all comes together. And like I said, with coaches, typically they have one particular thing. And usually when you're dealing with business coaches specifically, they're talking about specific business problems. And a lot of people come to me and they'll say, well, I'm looking at Vistage, right? I'm looking at Vistage. I'm looking to get some group coaching. I'm looking to join a mastermind. What makes you different than Vistage? And I say, gosh, well, Vistage is what you're going to get in there is you're going to get a bunch of corporate people. And you're going to talk about HR problems, hiring issues. You're going to get a bunch of people talking about corporate issues, C-suite level problems. If that's what you need, that's great. But you're not going to have anything holistic there. There's not going to be anything about relationships, nothing about health, nothing about metaphysics or spirituality. I mean, you're not going to cover any other areas except business, right? And specifically corporate business. And so I always say that, when I coach, it's more of a holistic. And what we do, everything that we do here, is more of a holistic approach, meaning it's encompassing all of life. And there's a reason for that. Because holistic health is so important. Like if one area is not working, then another area isn't going to work, right? So let's take Richard, for example, who's over there in Europe just killing it. Finished 6th in his last event, and we're gonna win some majors. Like he's doing great. And, imagine him as a professional golfer, and he has a fight, on a Thursday night, and he's got to play golf on Friday. All of a sudden now he's got that relationship issue that he's dealing with as he's trying to get on the golf course, right? And so we got to make sure in a coaching environment that everything is working in life. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we need to have an outlet. And that's what we do different. And that's how I'm so much different than any other coach that's out there. And what we do is to try to understand the holistic aspect because it all fits together. If one part's broken, it's going to hurt another part. I could tell you from my own experience that I've damaged relationships because I've been focused on the business so much that I've isolated myself and really focused on that, right? And then all of a sudden it's like money, 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 money. Gosh, in my 30s, that was the whole primary driver was how do we make more money? Now, as I'm getting into, my mid 50s, going to be 53 in 2022, it's more about how do I relax? I don't need a ton of money. I need to have money to do the things that I want to do, but the only reason I need money is to be able to expand the team and to make it grow so we can do some cool stuff, right? So money's important, but again, it's not the be all end all. And I think there's so many people that are kind of focused on different things, and money just is the one that always comes up like, it'll give me happiness. It'll give me everything I need. And that's not true. I mean, I have a lot of people that are friends that have all the money that they could ever need, and they don't create anything. They're not driven. They don't do anything. They're just kind of living life and consuming. I think Dana White, who sold the UFC for billions of dollars, him and his partner sold it, and then he stayed on. He talked about accumulating $1 billion. And, he said you just buy a bunch of junk that you don't need, and then you realize not much changes. It's hard to understand that when you don't have $1 billion, right? It's hard to understand that dynamic, but there's some truth to that, right? And we're not saying money's wrong. I'm just saying there's a more holistic aspect of life than just money. In fact, we want to drive and have money, but there's all aspects of life that we need to be concerned about to reach our potential and reach our peak. And that's why, coming back to the life wheel, it's such a wonderful tool. So when you get to that part and we jump in and I say, okay, this month is the life wheel, every quarter we're kind of taking a look at how you are feeling about your life. That's really what we're looking at. We're looking for a feel. Like, I talked about it the other day when we were talking about journaling, right? And the power of the journal and then writing down how you feel. Well, this is just an indicator of how you feel about particular areas of your life. And then what we can do is we can start to add deliberate practice to try to make that wheel a little more circular. Now, if you watch the video, I talked about balance. I always go against balance. I believe in jazz. Sometimes you need to be all in on your career. There's other times you need to be all in on your family. It just is what it is. I'm not a big balance guy. But what I am about is equaling out that holistic circle so that we don't have one area dragging us down. For example, if we do the circle and all of a sudden health is a 3 and everything else is an 8, well, that health is going to drag us down. We can't be successful if we're unhealthy, right? So what do we got to do? We've got to put deliberate practice in place. That's another thing that we talk about constantly here at Morning Coach, right? And we got to focus on how can we make that health better? Or if our relationships have gone to hell, okay, what do I got to do this quarter to get those relationships good? And we're constantly looking at what's going on in life and how can we do small little changes that are going to make a difference in our life. What is the drainer? What is the thing that is holding us down, and how do we work on it? And I also mentioned that when we do the life wheel that Finding a strength is good too, to actually pop one out a little bit higher. It's okay to have them. What we're looking for is the depressions on the circle. Like, when they come in, when they go out, that's okay. It's okay to have some spikes. And so sometimes you want to take a spike and make it even better. Like if your relationships are going that good, sometimes you want to make them even better by spiking that out a little bit. So the whole idea comes back to this idea of awareness. So that's one of the foundational pieces. We talk about gratitude is so important. And then there's awareness, mindfulness, understanding why we feel and why we're doing what we're doing. That allows us to understand what we need to work on. Most people don't have a plan. Most people don't know what to work on. Most people are just kind of living life with, just going with the flow. And sometimes that's okay. Sometimes, hey, if you're 20 years old and you're free and you just want to, backpack around the world, that's probably a great experience. But there's times in your life that you got to say, okay, this is what we're going to do. What are our goals and how are we going to get there? What are we going to do to execute on the goals that we have? And how do we do that? And sometimes you can do them alone. And sometimes you do them with your significant other. Sometimes you get with your family. And you get everybody moving in a particular direction. And then we're looking at where are deficiencies. Where are the things that aren't working? Where are the things that we're not good at? And how do I get better at them? How do I get the deliberate practice that's going to allow me to get better? I've been working a little bit on the golf game, as you know, and I've been pulling the driver out a little bit more. I was scoring really good with the 3-wood, hitting it about 250, and I decided, well, let me get the driver out and hit it 280 down there, and it'll give me less. Maybe I can get a couple more birdies. And the problem is what I'm seeing and what I'm finding out is I'm switching between clubs a little too much, and I'm not getting confidence. So I'm learning that I've got to step back. When I look at the life wheel of my golf game, when I have a bad day on the golf course and I break 90, which is a really bad day for me, that's like shooting 110. That's like a bad day. It ruins my day. So I don't want that to happen. So I want to play good golf. And how do I do that? Deliberate practice and go, okay, I'm not going to play around with that too much. I will utilize the clubs when I need them, and I will hit to the spaces that the golf course was designed in. And that's what I teach. But sometimes you get in your head like, I'm going to hit it out there a mile and then use it. But again, talking about a concept with golf, the reason I bring it up is because deliberate practice is what we do in life. What can I do with relationships? Maybe a date night. Maybe I can make that a little bit stronger. What about fear? How can I, decrease my fear? Well, maybe listen to yesterday's CoachCast or the last couple of days as we talked about getting out of mind, focusing on the overthinking, letting the overthinking go and being more athletic, stopping to worry about the fear that's in your mind and becoming present and getting stronger. One of the things about health, since we're on health, is if you're fearful, when you work out and you exercise, you gain confidence. And, self-esteem is also on that life wheel. So if those are things that you need to work on, sometimes you can find one area like health and expand it even more, and that's going to pump up some of the other areas. And that fear aspect and that aspect of self-esteem, they will grow as you work out. As long as you're training for something and not the mirror. Remember that? We got a long enough memory to remember that last week? But we want to work in understanding the awareness of what is happening with us. That is what holistic health is about. Feeling the deficit, feeling what's not working. I can tell you my body, I can tell when I'm down, tell when I'm not feeling that great. I can tell when things are working. I have a really good feel. And a lot of that comes back to my intuition. And I can tell you sometimes when I need to make the call, I feel like I just got to reach out to somebody. That's intuition. So one of the last things I'll leave you with today as we continue to go forward is working your intuition. And how do we work that? Start to trust it. Start to trust the intuition that you have. Start to trust that feeling that you have in your heart. Man, this area of my life isn't that good. Or man, this area of life needs work. And again, how do we do that? Kind of feel it. Maybe write it down. Journaling again. Boy, that's come up a couple times this week, hasn't it? But really understand, or last week, I should say. This week's the new week. But what we need to do is hone that intuition so we have the awareness, so we know what areas of our life holistically aren't working, so we can start working on them. Do we got that? And that's what we're doing within the plan. So we've got that, the life wheel, but we're ending this week with holistic life, holistic coaching. And so we want to talk a little bit about that, and that's what we're going to finish on. So let's go out there and have a fantastic day. Tomorrow is our last day with our book study, Alchemy. It's been a great one. I hope it's opened your mind up a little bit. We're going to get a little metaphysical in the next book. It's going to be a good one. I'll announce that tomorrow. But let's keep rocking and rolling. Let's get out and start off to have a great week and keep the energy going. I love you. If you need us, you know where to get us. info@morningcoach.com. We are here to serve and to help and to make the world a better place. And thanks to you, we're doing that together. Go have a fantastic day. Let's make it happen.